Listen, guys, this video is kind of a slow roll. I wasn't even gonna upload this at first, but like honestly, after 40 minutes, we were just all sitting here like, oh my God. Like, I feel like I should not be in this room. I feel like I should not be allowed to hear this. Like, if you've been following the Adelson trial, just clean your room, do the dishes, just throw this on in the background and just let it ride, okay? The Adelson family trial has been going on for a couple of years. Charlie Adelson was locked up just maybe about a year and a half ago or so after he was found guilty for the murder of a man named Dan Markel. Now, this is a little complicated, but basically, Dan Markel was the husband of a woman named Wendy Adelson, okay? So this is the couple. I said couple. Wendy and Dan. They're together. They have kids together. Well, the relationship wasn't going that well, and Wendy starts to talk to her mom about it. And her mom is Donna Adelson. And unfortunately, Donna Adelson is a fucking control freak. I mean, like no other. She is just a real weird bitch, okay? Well, Donna becomes obsessed with Wendy and Dan not only breaking up, but Wendy getting full custody of the kids and moving to Florida where she is. So Donna starts getting involved in the custody battle, basically trying to control her daughter. And then ultimately she's like, well, fuck it, let's just kill Dan. Like, she tries to tell everybody in the family, hey, everybody chip in $300,000 and we'll try to pay Dan off $1 million so he never sees his kids again. Obviously, that's not going to work. So then she hard switches and decides, like, we're going to kill Dan. And that is exactly what they do. Donna creates this really shitty mafia-like plan that involves like 7 or 8 different people for them to put out a hit on Dan and kill him. Well, ultimately, they got caught. So Charlie Adelson, the one that called for the hit, or at least found the hitman, he is now in jail. Wendy has had to testify at every trial. She was Dan Markel's wife. And now Donna is on trial. Now, if you didn't know, Donna, obviously guilty, okay? Once her son Charlie got convicted, she bought a one-way flight to Vietnam, and they actually caught her at the airport trying to leave to a country where she could not get extradited from. And then the reason why this video is so crazy is because Donna had tight control over her 2 favorite children, Charlie and Wendy, but we did not know. I mean, how many of you guys didn't know until today that there was an estranged son that got kicked out of the family because he didn't want to listen to mommy? So this, for the first time, we are seeing the estranged son speak out about his mom that he knew was crazy the entire time. I almost forgot to tell you guys this, but it's last call for the merchandise ever. If you wanted a BOZE blanket, BOZE hoodie, whatever we got left in stock, it is now 35% off. We're clearing it out before we do the next drop. I think I'm only going to start doing like 1 drop a year. And this is it for these blankets, this stuff. If you like it, you better get it now. And guess what? Take 35% off with the code TAKE35. Merch is hard, guys. Merch is hard. But you know what? I loved our blankets. It is my favorite product that I've ever made. If you guys have had them for a couple years, you know they are super soft. They're very easy to take care of. The color's great. The comfort's great. They're fantastic. Get your blanket. 35% off. Take 35. BOZEversTheWorld.net. Robert Adelson, the estranged son, and my God, just from this angle alone, God, he does look like Donna. He looks like Donna. I need to see just a little bit of this. I had no idea.
Raise your right hand to be sworn.
I had no. He's coming for revenge. He's coming for revenge. Wait, this might be going up.
I swear.
You may take your seat.
You know what? Fucking get her, Robert. Get her, Robert. Son that I didn't even know existed. Get her.
Could you tell us your name and spell your name for our court reporter, please?
Sure. Robert Todd Adelson. Adelson.
Oh my God. He's like,
thank you.
Like, and what? He's like good Charlie. There's evil Charlie and then good Charlie, but it's really just Robert. Well, maybe. I mean, listen, the fact that Donna is fucking crazy and Donna kicked him out of the family, just immediately I'm on Robert's side, okay? This video is called Estranged Adelson's Son Recalls Haunting Final Conversation with Donna.
What do you do for a living in New York?
I'm an ENT.
Okay, so you're a nose and throat doctor?
Yes.
And how long
Family
have
of
you worked
doctors?
as an ENT?
For 20 years.
How do you know the defendant in this case, Donna Adelson?
She's my mother.
And Harvey Adelson's your dad?
Yes.
Wendy and Charlie Adelson are your siblings?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you grow up?
In Coral Springs, Florida.
This is like actually one of the craziest things I've ever seen on the channel. Like, think about it. We've seen so many narcissistic parents. We've seen the way they treat their, but we haven't seen the estranged child that comes back in a courtroom. And I mean, look, your mom's on trial for murder. You knew that she was a piece of shit. You knew she was controlling, but you just couldn't prove it. And then your brother and sister still stuck by her side. And now your brother's in jail. And now mom's about to go to jail too. Like, this is... I've been saying that the Adelson trial is insane from the beginning, and this is just like another twist.
When y'all were growing up, did you all, the 5 of you, live in the same house as a family?
Yes,
And who's the oldest child?
I am.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Who's the middle child?
Charlie.
How many years between you and Charlie?
3 years between Charlie and I.
And then who's the youngest then is Wendy?
Yes.
And how many years between Charlie and Wendy?
3 years.
Okay.
This is crazy.
When you were 18, did you move out of the Coral Springs house?
Yes, when I went to college.
Okay. And did you go to college at University of Florida?
I went to Tulane.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Did you go?
I legitimately got fucking scared. Oh my God, dude. Call me for the Netflix doc. I have been following this case for almost 3 years. I am personally invested. Call me for the movie.
Based on your personal observations throughout your life of your parents and of your siblings, who is the leader in the family? Who tends to run the show?
Goth Laundry said, Donna is fantasizing about putting a hit out on this son from prison. Yes, I wouldn't put it past her. This woman is fucking crazy.
I think my mom.
Donna,
Okay,
that's
so
right.
Donna Adelson?
Yep.
Yes.
Would you describe Donna Adelson's
Robert.
personality
Go,
as
Robert.
being more controlling or more laid back?
I think more on the controlling side.
What about, is she kind of a more assertive person or a more passive person?
More assertive.
What about your dad, Harvey Adelson? What's his personality like?
I think he's more passive, more go with the flow.
Okay. So they're kind of opposites in that way a bit?
Yeah.
Did she have certain fixed ideas
Harvey.
throughout your life of certain things she wanted to happen in you and your siblings' life?
Yes, absolutely.
Was it acceptable if you decided to not do those
Nope.
certain things that she was fixated she wanted you to do? Was that acceptable to her or no?
No, I think she had certain sort of rigid, fixed ideas or impressions for what she wanted for us. And, if you went along with that, things were fine. If you didn't, things were not fine.
Did she
Damn,
have strong
tell it
opinions
like
about
it
who
is.
you all married and what you all did for a living and those types of things?
Yes.
And you're obviously a doctor. Was that an acceptable profession to
Yes.
her?
Yeah. That was okay.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And was that one of the reasons you became a doctor?
Yes.
Was she more involved with your life, Charlie's life, or Wendy's life, would you say?
Probably more involved with Wendy and probably to a lesser degree with Charlie.
And that's what narc families do when they ostracize one child. They act like they're a problem, and we just don't talk about that person. I tend to have a soft spot for people that get exiled because I've been exiled before, and it took years for people to realize, like, oh shit, like maybe that person wasn't wrong, And so I always tend to feel bad for exiles. But then, if anyone else has been in my position before, I find that 50% of the time that people are exiled, sometimes they actually are kind of bad people. But then sometimes, 50% of the time, some people that were exiled for totally fucked up reasons.
And then would you be she's the least involved with your life out of the 3?
Yeah, probably because I was older, but sure, I agree.
Older,
Okay, so
smarter,
you're the oldest
who
child.
knew what
You're
was
out of the
going
house
on.
before the other 2.
Yep.
Okay, and then you also lived other places after you went to college throughout the rest of your life?
Yes.
Now, was this like a healthy level of involvement that she had with the 3 of your lives, or was it more of like a micromanaging as you saw it?
Yeah, I think it was certainly between over-involved and controlling. It probably lended itself more toward controlling, but, there's, in various realms, more or less, but I think certainly that was a tension.
So a little more on the controlling side.
Yes.
And does that include your personal lives as far as your relationships and in your professions, your jobs?
Yes.
Was it Charlie who always needed more attention than the other 2 children?
I think so, yes.
Ooh.
When did Wendy's life start becoming one that she needed to pay or give more attention to?
I think when she had some troubles in her marriage, I wasn't aware there were any troubles in her marriage until Wendy left. But I think around that time when she had 2 young children, I think that was when she became more involved. And I was, at that point living, a pretty good distance away.
Were Charlie and Donna Adelson dependent on each other or pretty independent from each other?
I would say Charlie was probably somewhat dependent on my mom to help him out with organizing stuff, his dental practice. I think he probably relied on her a lot.
Because Donna is the type of person to emotionally abuse and enmesh herself into her relationships with her children and make them think that they can't do anything without her. Have you guys ever had that before? A parent that makes you feel like you can't make decisions for yourself. You can't pay bills for yourself. You can't take care of yourself. And they beat this into you so that you don't trust yourself. And in turn, you lean on them even more because they have issues. These people have issues. Like, a good parent, even if they saw that like maybe you weren't great at these things, they would try to help you become more independent, not break you down so much that you lean on them even more. That is toxic. That is very sick.
And you mentioned the dental practice. When you were growing up, who owned the dental practice?
My dad.
Okay. And throughout your life, was Donna Adelson in charge of the money at Adelson Institute?
I always, I wouldn't know the inside workings of it, but I always remember my mom like signing the checks and writing the checkbook at the table, like when I was back in middle school or high school. So.
Okay. So even back then, she would do some bookkeeping or payroll type things at home.
That's my memory of it.
Okay.
I am balls deep in this case, okay? This is my Karen Reed case. You know how some people were super, super into Karen Reed for a while? No. The Adelson trial, this is my one, okay? And if you've watched it on the live streams, you've probably seen 10 or 15 hours of Adelson court shit by now. You've probably watched some extra stuff on YouTube, or if you've just watched the ones like in my YouTube videos, you are also deep in this trial. And you know what this means? This means that when the Netflix documentary comes out, inevitably the Hulu, the HBO Max, whatever one, because there's no way nobody covers this one in full. It's just too heavy. We're going to be right there. We're going to be right there, knowing every detail, knowing what comes next, because we're on it, all right?
How did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel when he and Wendy first got together and were headed towards marriage?
He was very positive about him.
Okay. So he was somebody she approved of?
Yes.
All right. And how did that change as Wendy and Danny's relationship soured? They ended up moving towards divorce.
So I really only heard anything bad about Danny after Wendy moved out. I didn't hear anything bad about him prior to that date.
Okay. So just kind of went from everything's fine to then hearing bad things about him.
Yes.
Like I said through this whole trial, I have not seen anything saying that Dan Markel was anything less than a saint. Personally, I think that Donna Adelson was really, really jealous that Wendy was her bestie Esty, and now she has to move on with life. Overly attached mom. And she painted Dan as the enemy because Dan married her daughter. That's it. I name anything bad. Like, when people go through what's crazy here is there have been multiple trials at this point, okay? And usually the first thing the defense does is smear the victim. They don't have anything to say about Dan.
And how did Donna Adelson feel about Dan Markel in 2014?
She hated him.
Would this come from, your knowledge of that come from things that she would say to you?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you observe that Wendy played a bit of a damsel in distress, in your opinion, in the divorce?
Yes, I think that's a good way to describe it.
Wow.
Did Donna
Wendy
Adelson ever talk to you about Wendy Adelson and Dan Markel's divorce?
I apologize. Did Donna Adelson, I apologize. Can I hear the question again?
Did Donna Adelson ever talk to you about Wendy and Dan Markel's divorce?
Some. I mean, the phrase that sticks in my head is that Danny was depoing Wendy to death. I wasn't involved with, all the various motions. I remember that phrase. I remember there being a lot of, court motions back and forth. But I remember that phrase. I remember, some complaints about like very long either mediation or depositions that Wendy had to endure.
Okay, so this is Donna saying Wendy's having to go through these things.
Yes.
Okay, and just telling you about it.
Yes.
What did Donna Adelson tell you about the plan for Wendy Adelson to leave the marriage?
Oh my God.
Sure. When
Oh my God. Oh my God.
she told me that when that she had been in Tallahassee for several months.
This is Donna Adelson had
Yes.
been?
That she had been in Tallahassee for several months, renting a new place for Wendy, arranging for movers, moving money around, and getting things set up. I only knew this after Wendy had moved out, but she was relating to me what had occurred over the summer. And so I heard this all at once, but probably 5-6 days after Wendy had moved out, and then told me that the somewhat gleefully or pleased that they timed the phone call to Danny right before he was supposed to give a speech at the meeting he was at.
Oh,
Okay.
that is fucking evil. That's evil. That's so evil. That's evil. Per Donna's instructions, Wendy told Dan that she was leaving right before he had a very important speech to give. And Robert recounts that Donna was excited or gleeful when she relayed this information to him. She enjoyed torturing him in a sense.
And what did Donna tell you that she did to try to, hide the fact that they were renting a place for Wendy?
I remember her saying she had used her maiden name so there wouldn't be an Adelson up here renting, or hiring movers or such.
And just so like word of mouth wouldn't get around that Wendy Adelson was renting an apartment, something like that.
Sure.
Okay. So they used Donna's maiden name.
Yes.
Donna did. You said that their plan was for Wendy to call Dan Markell as he was getting on stage, or right before he got on stage, to give a speech at a conference.
That's what I was told.
Okay. And what was Donna's demeanor when she was describing this plan to you about how she was able to set up this place for Wendy to live in, everything was ready for her, and then this is how she gave Dan the news?
Donna's the one that gave the news? If not, then we
I
object.
believe the question was, what was her demeanor? You may
Yes, sir.
answer
Fair
the
question. Yes, fair. That's a fair question.
She sounded pleased to me.
I believe him. I believe
Did
him.
you ever see Donna Adelson doing anything to help Wendy Adelson with the divorce?
I think she was, answering a lot of emails and looking over, emails that went back and forth, looking over motions and such.
Did you personally see that when she was visiting you? Did you see Donna Adelson doing those things?
Yes.
Okay. Was there an occasion when you all were in the hospital and Donna came to visit and was doing those things in the hospital?
I think it was at our home at the time, right before he went to the hospital. But yes, that's where we, saw the email.
Did Donna Adelson tell you that Wendy Adelson was trying to get permission to relocate to Miami?
Yes.
And did Donna Adelson tell you about the $1 million bribe she wanted to offer
Ooh.
Dan Markell?
Yes.
She told him about that? I honestly don't think anybody would take $1 million to just never see their kids that they were very close with ever again. Like, that's just, it's crazy. Give me 10. But the crazy part about this too was that Donna wanted Charlie to give $333,000. She wanted Wendy to give $333,000, and then she and her husband were gonna split their half of the $333,000. So Donna was only gonna pay $150. That's all.
Did Donna Adelson tell you information about how much time she was having to spend in Tallahassee?
She said that Wendy needed a lot of help because now she has 2 boys on her own, and so she was up there a lot. And I think yes.
Okay. Who cared more about Wendy Adelson's divorce from your conversations? Was it Donna or Charlie?
Donna.
What types of things does Charlie care about? What are kinds of things is he really into?
I mean, like go-karts, jet skis, going out, boats, not Wendy's divorce.
Okay. And is Donna Adelson very into her kids and grandkids and
Yes.
their success?
Yes.
Do you think Wendy and her boys moving to Miami was particularly important to Charlie Adelson from Your observations?
I don't think so.
During the divorce, from your conversations with Donna, was she fixated on Wendy taking this job with a guy named Gary Cohen in Miami?
Yes, that was a common discussion point.
Okay. Did she seem like it was just something that she kind of thought would be a good idea, or something that she seemed to have a real obsession with?
It came up a lot in my discussions with her about this job with Gary, where she'd be making $1 million a year and she'd be a partner, and it was something that was brought up a lot, that she'd be able to take care of her kids in a way that she couldn't up in Tallahassee.
Dude, why is Donna so involved?
And then it was probably the one thing that she mentioned to me, the only time I heard any anger after the murder had occurred, was that I asked, is Wendy going to go work for Gary now? And she told me that.
Did the job end up not working out?
As far as I know, it didn't.
Okay, and that you.
Dude, Donna even trying to like orchestrate who her children work for and what businesses they're tied to. Like on one hand, I almost do feel a little bit bad for Wendy. The first time I ever felt bad for Wendy was when I realized that she told the officers the day that Dan was murdered that her mom and Charlie may have had something to do with it. They made a joke, haha. Like, she literally said it at the scene of the fucking crime. Like, something was weighing on Wendy. And I also think that she was essentially abused and emotionally enmeshed with her mother from a very young age. However, if Wendy did not give Dan Markel's schedule to the hitman that day, Dan would still be alive. So personally, I don't know about you guys, we haven't really talked about this much. Like, I personally think that Wendy should serve time. She has to serve time. Like, where is Wendy's trial? But at the same time, I do think that her mom essentially emotionally abused her and made her lean on her for her entire life. I don't think Wendy even knows who she is without Donna Adelson. But, that aside, I think Wendy has to serve time. I do.
Did Wendy Adelson, I'm going to move on to 2014 now. Did Wendy Adelson send you a text where she referenced having a boyfriend?
Yes.
And was this before Dan Markel's murder?
Yes.
Why was that memorable to you?
It was just unusual. Wendy, never was someone who would, share her, romantic life or boyfriends or, tell me or, text me about anyone she was dating. So it just stood out as, unique or different.
Yeah, that is odd because the Adelson family doesn't trust Robert. Like, you can hear through his testimony, they didn't give him very many details. It almost, like, that is odd. Why would Wendy, who literally does not trust her brother because her mother doesn't trust him, text him and say that I'm dating somebody before the divorce is finalized? It feels, I don't know what their intention was, but it feels intentional.
Was it your impression that your parents knew about this boyfriend at the time or no?
No, the text said...
Oh my God. Okay. Lauren Wilson in chat said, Wendy was setting up Jeff, her BF at the time. These sneaky little fucks. Okay, Wendy, bitch, you gotta go to jail.
All right, so how did you first hear about Dan Markel's murder?
I heard the day after the shooting occurred, so that would be Saturday, July 19. I was at a meeting in Chicago.
After.
And
maybe it's just me, but I also think that it's shocking that he heard the day after. You didn't hear the day of that your sister's husband was murdered?
I was at a meeting in Chicago, and I think I got a phone call first, and that I was in a meeting, and so I just said, can I call you later? And then I got a text message shortly thereafter, like right before 10 in the morning, that said, like, tragedy here, please call.
Tragedy here, please call. That is a crazy message. Nobody would type that way. Okay, yeah, Love Bug, you're taking the words out of my mouth. Love Bug said, of course Donna worded it like that. Yes, that's it. Of course Donna worded it like that. Of fucking course.
Please call.
From her iPad.
And are these from Donna Adelson?
Yes.
Okay. So were you able to call her that morning from the conference in Chicago?
Yeah, so I walked out and went to the hotel lobby and just hit call.
Okay, and tell us about that conversation with her.
So it's one of those moments that you'll just remember forever. So I remember being in the lobby of the Westin, and I assumed something terrible had happened, and but I wasn't ready for it. She said, so we just want to let you know that Danny's been shot, and they took him to the hospital, but he didn't make it. And
It's crazy.
It didn't make any sense. And I probably asked like a few medical questions, and they said they're driving up to go help Wendy, and we'll talk to you later. We can't talk now.
Okay. Was she crying in that conversation?
Not in
Donna
the
Adelson?
conversation.
Sir?
No, she was not.
Okay.
It was very matter of fact.
Did she ever give you
my
any
God.
further detail that weekend about how he'd been shot, or other than just Danny was shot and he didn't make it?
I think it was the next day. So the only really other time that I spoke with him that weekend, I was in the airport going home, like Sunday afternoon. So it was definitely the next day, and it was the first time I could actually have any kind of conversation. And one of the things that she told me is, it bothered me, but I didn't have any other details about. But she said that, someone went to the front door and said, "Are you Dan Markel?" and then shot him. And then I said, "Well, how could you know that? Who's telling you that?" And she said, "Well, that's just what they're telling us."
So she said someone told her that someone knocked on Danny's door, said, "Are you Dan Markel?" He said yes, and the shooter shot him.
That's the story I heard, and later we found out that wasn't what happened. But that story.
She told the story that the shooter said, "Are you Dan Markel?" and then he shot. First of all, way to tell the police it was a hit immediately off that detail alone, dummy. What?
Bothered me a lot because there's only one way you could hear that story.
Was she crying when she told you that information?
No.
You mentioned earlier that law enforcement contacted you after Dan Markel's murder. Did they contact you to try to see if you knew any information?
Yeah, they came to our house. I was already at work, and so they talked to my wife. It had to be a Wednesday or Thursday, so I was already at work.
And is this your house in New York?
Yes.
And did you end up talking to law enforcement and letting them, answering their questions, letting them know what you knew?
Yeah, they came to my office the next day, and we with two agents, and we had we had an interview.
Okay. After that conversation with, you said it was the FBI earlier, right?
Yes.
Okay. After that conversation with the FBI, did Donna Adelson ever say anything to you about having talked to law enforcement or the FBI?
It was either that afternoon or the next day, but and she had called me and said, just want to let you know, if the police come around, don't talk to them.
Okay, so she told you not to talk to law enforcement.
Correct.
Did you let her know that you already had talked to law enforcement?
Yeah, I said I already did.
And what'd she say to that?
Donna
She
was
said, "Oh, well,
pissed.
you don't know anything anyway."
You don't know anything anyway?
Correct.
Was that an unusual statement coming from your mother?
No.
Yeah, everything that week was unusual, but I clearly didn't know anything, but I wasn't going to not talk to the FBI if they show up at my house.
That's right,
How did you
Robert.
respond?
That's right.
After
Dude,
the murder.
Hey, you know what? I'm with Robert, okay? I'm with Robert because, I don't care if I love or hate my mom. I'm a rule follower, okay? If the FBI shows up at my house, I'm a rule follower and I'm nosy. If the FBI shows up to my house with some questions, I'm chirping. I'm singing. I want to know what y'all know, and I'm gonna tell you what I know, and then we're gonna come together like two girls in the bathroom, and we're gonna just spill everything. Okay, that's what I'm doing if the FBI comes to my house.
After the murder of Dan Markel, did Donna Adelson seem curious about who killed Dan Markel?
No.
Was there a complete lack of curiosity?
Yeah, nobody seemed curious.
Did you actually ever ask her, after the murder, hey, what do you think happened? What do you...
Yeah, and the conversations were kind of rerouted, or that was certainly discouraged, and it was probably maybe sometime mid-August, when I finally had a chance to ask and say, what is going on? This was not a small event. This was getting a lot of notoriety, and I said, what do you guys think happened? And she had said, I don't know and I don't care. It doesn't concern me.
This is one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Pan the camera to Donna. Do it for me. Do it for me. I know this is a murder child. Just pan it to her for 2 seconds.
And she had said, I don't know and I don't care. It doesn't concern me.
Wow.
Was that out of character for her to not be curious and not be asking some questions?
Yeah, I mean, it was an unsolved murder of, my former brother-in-law, like someone that we all know very well. And if it was like some neighborhood gossip, people would be interested. This was like national interest, and nobody had any curiosity about, who did this to Danny.
Is a person, you mentioned that, not only is it your brother-in-law, but it was like national news at that point as well.
Yes!
And
Yes!
regardless of it being national news or not, I mean, is a person dying from gun violence an extremely unusual thing to happen in your family?
Yes!
Yeah, I mean, to this day, Danny's the only person that I know who's died from gun violence or been a victim of gun violence. So it's unique in that manner.
What would your mom, Donna Adelson, do if you did try to ask her any more about Danny's murder after that?
It wasn't a subject for discussion. It would be rerouted, or it was just not a subject to discuss.
When you say rerouted, do you mean changing the subject?
Yeah.
I have no idea why I'm having such a visceral reaction to this. To me, this is literally like, have you guys seen the movie There Will Be Blood? Where it's really, really slow for the entire movie, and then just everything kind of explodes at the end. This whole, this whole conversation has been establishing, but I've been paying attention the entire time. And now it's just ramping up to you're right. This is fucking insane. Donna just being oh yeah, it's national news. Somebody we know has died of gun violence and they don't know who did it, but don't ask any fucking questions and don't talk to the cops. What?
Do you remember in May of 2016 when Sigfredo Garcia and Luis Rivera were arrested?
Yeah, I do. I actually saw it in the OR lounge. Someone told me about it. So it had to be a Wednesday. And
you were in the operating room lounge?
Yeah, it was
and
the
someone
lounge.
Told you about it?
Yeah, it was someone else, because stories like this people see on Twitter or such. And I remember someone telling me hey, did you hear about that case? Because it's more than one person had followed it, and I saw it, and then that was on the 26th, and I remember the dates because our anniversary is on the 28th of May. My wife and I was should we call them? They arrested some guy who killed Danny. And
when you say them, you mean should we call
parents.
my parents? And
yes.
Yeah, okay. So it was big news that even people you work with were seeing that there were finally some arrests made.
Right.
And that was 2 days before your anniversary, you said?
Yes.
Okay, so did you and your wife eventually talk to your parents?
We did. We thought, should we call them? And we figured, if they wanted to call us, they would call us, and then they didn't. And so we figured, well, they'll call us on our anniversary, and so we can just sit tight. And I'm sure it's pretty stressful. And this guy was arrested in Miami, and so they called us on our anniversary, which was the 28th.
Okay, so that was 2 days after the arrest, I think.
2 days after I found out. Yes.
2 days after you found out. Thank you. So on the 28th, did you talk to Donna Adelson?
Yes.
All right. And when she called you, was she telling you the good news that Danny's killers were arrested?
No, she just called us for anniversary, and wished us well, and had some small talk for a bit. I kind of let it go for a little bit, and I mean, this was not small news, and so I finally broached the topic and said, they found the guy, they arrested someone who killed Danny. There's no response, and I said it, at least 2 or 3 times that,
and they didn't respond.
They made an arrest. They got the guy who killed Danny. Yeah, and then her response was, I've got to go.
So Donna never brought up that supposedly Danny's killers were arrested, but he heard about it, whether it be through people or the news or something, and so he brings it up to Donna. First time he brings it up, she doesn't say anything. He brings it up a second time, she doesn't say anything. And then he brings it up a third time, and then she says, I've got to go.
And then did she hang up the phone after that?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And did you ever talk to her about it again, ever after that?
No.
Oh, he seems kind of sad, dude. Yeah, because your mom's evil. I'm sorry,
second.
Robert. Also, bro, I'm sorry. Not to suck my own dick here for a second or anything. I have been saying since the Charlie Adelson trial, like in the Charlie Adelson trial is where we slowly like found out Donna's involvement. I've been screaming for 2 years that Donna was the problem. Donna was the matriarch. And it's just like every month more and more unfolds. I knew it was you, Donna. I knew it. I know a narc mom when I see one, okay? You bitches aren't getting past me. I know.
Other than, her reaching out for happy birthdays, happy anniversaries, that kind of thing, was that the last conversation you had with her?
That was the last time I spoke to her.
Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Leave him alone. So that was the attorney for the state. Now Donna's stupid attorneys are going to walk over here.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
God damn. Sister Adelson, welcome to the stand.
In between 2012 and 2014, how many times did you come to visit your family in South Florida?
Shut up.
2012 and 2014.
Never.
My daughter was born in October of 2012, and so I think my dad's birthday is, there was a Thanksgiving, I think, in 2013. So, pretty much Thanksgivings were the times when we would travel, having a, 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, so.
Sure. Okay, so Thanksgiving.
Whoa, great answer. So I feel like she was coming in her goal here is to try to discredit him in some capacity. So I think she came in and was ready to try to paint him as a bad son. So she was like, how often did you come to visit during these times? And he immediately comes out of the gate saying, oh, I think my daughter was just born then. So now he kind of has an alibi, in a sense, for like why he may not have visited very much. But then he goes, yeah, I still visited on Thanksgivings. Just dismantled her whole line of questioning.
Okay, and when you came for his birthday was on the 5th. You came in on the 4th, the party was on the 5th, and you left on the 6th, correct?
That's my memory of it.
And Thanksgiving, kind of the same thing? I mean, you got a
Yeah.
job you got to get back to, right?
In and
Yeah,
out.
yep.
Okay.
Oh, she's really trying to paint him as a bad son.
And how frequent were the phone calls that you were having with your family?
This is so stupid.
Probably less than once a week, maybe every other week, something like that.
You guys see the line of questioning, what she's trying to paint here, right?
You were here on the 5th for your dad's birthday. You said you went home on the 6th.
Yep.
And Danny Markell was brutally murdered on July the 18th of 2014. That was in the summer.
Correct.
Recall that?
Yes.
And when did you arrive in Florida to be with your family?
I didn't.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, shut up.
You had
Jeez.
mentioned in your direct testimony that your mom called and said you shouldn't talk to the police. You recall that?
Yeah, I do, yes.
What actually happened was a family friend, Michael Weinstein, you know him, correct?
I do, yeah.
Your mom indicated that he had called and advised that as a family friend and an attorney that you all should not talk to the police. That's what she told you, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
But she said
I
don't
don't
talk
have
to the
anything
police.
Redirect examination.
Oh, that was, you know what? Credible witness. Very credible.
3 days later.
Oh my fucking God. Guys, I've been waiting years for this. Years! Oh my God. Sorry.
Having reviewed the verdict form, it is in its proper order. At this time, I will publish the verdict.
Publish it! Publish
We,
it!
the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the indictment, first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder. Mrs. Adelson, control yourself.
Donna.
Count 2.
Donna.
We, the jury, find as follows as the
Yeah,
count
come
2
on.
of the indictment. Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder.
I thought she might have only gotten
The
conspiracy.
defendant is
You're-
guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Count 3. We, the jury, find as follows as the count 3 of the indictment. Solicitation to commit first-degree murder. The defendant is guilty of solicitation to commit first-degree
Oh
murder.
my God.
And it is signed and dated by the foreperson. One
Donna.
moment. Members of the jury, the bailiff will escort you to the jury room.
I can't believe I've never said this before on this stream. I was going to say don't do the crime if you can't do the time. But you know what? Why the fuck would you kill that man? Why the fuck would you kill the father of your grandchildren? Why would you do that? Like, what is wrong with you? And then this little pity party that we're having here afterwards. And also, look at this. When he basically says, bailiffs, take her away. The fear in Donna's eyes. Like, they are coming to get her.
One
Look.
moment. Members of the jury, the bailiff will escort you to the jury room.
She's like, no, how could you do this to me? This is the part that's a little funny to me, to be frank. Part of the reason why Donna's defense team failed, well, one is it was a horrific crime with an insurmountable amount of evidence. I mean, actually, nobody was getting away with this, okay? However, one particular thing is Donna's defense team really catered to her. It seems like Donna's defense team wanted to make her happy, so the way they spoke about things were how Donna would have liked them to be presented, not the best way that they should be presented for her defense. Did anybody else notice that? Like when they talked about Dan, they talked about it in the way that Donna was like, yeah, don't say this, don't say that about him, blah, 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 blah. Like, I mean, you could just see it like all through the trial. Donna, this was all you. All you. Guys, I've been waiting for today, ever since the beginning of the Charlie Adelson trial.
Mrs. Adelson, while this was not the outcome I'm sure that you desired, there will not be any further outbursts in front of the jury.
Yep.
If you
suck it
cannot
up.
control yourself, I am going to have to determine if you will be removed from the remainder of this process. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Yes. Do you need a moment to collect yourself?
Yep.
Before the jurors are brought back in, we will take a brief 2-minute break.
Somebody said, can she appeal? Yeah, Donna's gonna be in here fighting for her life, harassing people trying to appeal. But you know what? The Adelsons don't have any more money. The Adelsons have no money. There will be no commissary. There will be no, because guess who's next? Wendy, Harvey, you gonna be Harvey, are you going to be putting your pension on your entire family's commissary? Is that what you'll be doing today, sir? This is a crazy case. Where is the Netflix documentary? Where is
When
it?
the jurors are brought back into the room, does the defense wish to have the jurors polled before they are discharged?
Oh, okay, we're going to poll the jury, and they're going to one by one tell her, goodbye, Donna. You know, part of the reason I've been so invested in this is because, guys, you know what? There are two things I really don't like. I bet you know what these two things are. As soon as I say them, you're going to be like, oh yeah, BOZE doesn't like that shit. One, bad Christians. I hate bad Christians, but doesn't apply here. I really, really hate bad moms. And somebody on the previous Donna video commented this, and I didn't even think about it until now. Donna Adelson is not only the epitome of a horrible mother, she threw all of her children under the bus. For what? For what? For what? What was the prize, Donna? What was the prize? To raise two kids with sole custody? That was the prize? Sacrificing your children that you raised for 30, 40 years? Donna Adelson might be the ultimate bad mom. Bring back the narc gauntlet. We have a new contestant. At the end of this whole trial, and I mean, really, are we at the end? Because Wendy, clock's ticking. At the end of Donna's trial, I know that she looked at pictures of Dan Markel, and in her twisted little brain, she still thinks that this is his fault. Not hers. She thinks that it's Dan's. And that part, some people will just always be sick. They will always be sick. And we turn our backs and we walk away from them. We might get a Wendy trial. We shall see. But you know what? I know we've talked about Dan Markel, like, you know, obviously like quite a bit through the trial, a lot of Donna, a lot of Wendy, a lot of Harvey, a lot of everything. It does feel kind of good to see Dan get justice. I mean, obviously, we always wish the crime didn't happen. Wish he was still here with his kids. Wish he was still with us. But so often do people not only get away with shit like this, but entire families lie for each other. They cover things up. And the Adelsons they were so in their little network that it could have happened. They could have gotten away with it. But nope, we actually get to see this justice in real time. And I don't know. I think that's a really great thing, because sometimes the court system really fucks us over, guys. Fucks us over. This time, they're not getting away with it, Dan.